Hello, everybody. How are you doing? It's Damon yet again, and this time I will talk to you about movies. Like we know lots of things about movies. We know about how movies can be good, movies can be bad, and I really treasure this opportunity to talk to you about movies. This today's topic is related to movies, but not just specifically about movies. It's how a movie can engross you within a few seconds. Some movies will take their time to make you interested in the movie. Some movies will make you basically turn you off from the get-go. And some movies are able to catch your interest like that. Speaking of which, this is the subject of today's video. What are to me the best movie openings of all times. Not the box office, I'm talking about the movie, the first scene of the movie that hooks you in. That's an art that basically when I look over the list, it's not lost, but doesn't happen as often. So I'm not one of those persons say, well, movies aren't good anymore. They're good. But it's like they don't engross you as well as they could. And I've noticed a lot of them happen to be movies I love. They are some of my favorites. They engross you from the first go. I'll tell you this, one of my favorite movies, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, is not on this. It takes its time to go there, and that's fine. But then some movies from the first scene, it's like, oh, I'm in for a treat. So yeah, and today will be the top 20. The top 30. 30. It's gonna be 20, but it became 30 after this. And this page got detached. That's okay. And I'll tell you this, some movies, one movie or several movies, not that many on that list, aren't exactly great. But damn, the opening really hypes you. So, without further ado, let's go for my top 30 best movie opening scenes. Best opening scenes in movies of all time. Number 30, The Old Other Guys. Another movie collaboration with Will Ferrell and Adam McKay and with Mark Wahlberg. But surprisingly, the opening doesn't interact with them. It's more with Dwayne The Rock Johnson, Sam Jackson's as basically the high octane action cops, basically trying to do all types of cop movie cliches to get the victim, the perpetrators. And that's funny, especially when basically in the moment, the beginning of the movie, Will Ferrell and Mark Wahlberg's characters, which we are the main characters of the movies, are in the background for Dwayne Johnson, The Rock's characters' antics. And then it leads up to the second, basically the second was supposed to be the second and last, in this case, last pursuit of The Rock and Sam Jackson's basically pursuit of the antagonist there. It leads to the hilarious aim for the bushes moment, and if you didn't see the movie, you'll see the adrenaline stupidity that happens there. And yeah, it leads to Rock and Samuel Jackson jumping off a building, trying to aim for the bushes, non-existent bushes, by the way, and end up plummeting their deaths. And it's even mentioned by Will Ferrell and Mark Wahlberg's characters. I don't know how they know that aim for the bushes. Like, how did they aim for the bushes? There weren't any bushes around. And it's like they were speaking for the audience. And when I was watching the movie theater, people were laughing out loud like crazily. FYI, this is one thing I like about terms movies. Either being people like stunned in the movie theater or people laughing out loud. For example, they laugh out loud at the ends of the Weapons movie with Julia Gardner and Josh Brolin this summer that came out this summer when the witch got caught. Everybody was laughing out loud and was one of the best movie ending in a long time. But in this case, the movie opening, I really liked it. It set up the rest of the movie, the tone for other guys. Number 29. I talk about movies that aren't that great, but a great opening. Ghost Ship, 2002. I mean, this all basically, it's an horror movie, but if you ever seen the opening of this movie, good thing and bad thing. Good thing is a great scene. Bad side is you've seen the best part of the movie. You might as well just end the movie there. Really want to put X-Men Wolverine there, X-Men Origins Wolverine, because the first minutes when Wolverine and Sabretooth go through all the Civil War, many wars, that's the best part of the movie. The rest of the movie is the worst, just maybe the worst X-Men movie ever, which is saying something in its list with Dark Phoenix. But I really like the opening with Ghost Ship. And again, it's not an awful movie, but it's the best part of the movie. The rest of the movie sometimes was a bit incoherent. And it's based on this and the twist at the end. That's it. Everything else it just felt like eh. But it's number 29. Number 28, speaking of Ghostbusters. The first Ghostbusters. Again, the opening scenes has nothing to do with the title characters. It's a librarian working in the evening when nobody's around. And at first, papers are flying. She thinks a coincidence, but eventually, all hell breaks loose. All the files are going around. She gets scared. She turns a corner. Then the camera zooms in on her being scared and yelling, and the Ghostbusters sign. That whole scene sets up the whole movie. It says it's comedy, but at the same time, it's still a bit of horror for the first Ghostbusters. Yes, the first Ghostbusters is undoubtedly the best of the series, but I say Ghostbusters to get a bad rap. I think it's the first movie I've ever went to see in movie theater. That and or TMNT, and I've seen Ghostbusters twice in the movie theater, and I never felt like if it's a kid that was a bad thing. Yes, it was more like Ghostbusters cartoon and less like basically an R-rated movie, but still, it's not bad either. I think it's just people sometimes making out a movie that or making an opinion of a movie saying it's bad when in reality what they really mean, and it's a psychological phenomenon, is just not the movie they would have made. It's not the movie that they thought it was going to be. That's different. That's not a bad movie. That's just not the movie you would have made. So I really like Ghostbusters, and the first one especially sets up the rest of the movie with its first scene. So yeah, and it sets the complete tone, the comedy, but a bit of the horror. That's number 28. 27, The Disaster Artist in 2007. That might be one of the more recent one I got. Everybody know about Tommy Wiseau's The Room. Oh, hi, Mark. If everybody loved each other, then the world would be a better place to live. Tommy Wiseau is a legend. Okay? Tommy Wiseau should have been in the Oscars when that movie came out and should have given a speech at the Oscars, but we're deprived of that. Anyway, was still awesome when he did at Golden Globes, but whatever. The opening of the movie, you think they all say about accomplishment, about good movies, and they say that The Room isn't one of them. It's like, oh boy. It's like, it's the funniest autobiography that I've ever seen in a movie, or biographical movie that I've seen. And it sets up the movie of Tommy Wiseau and here Greg Sestero, both played by the Franco brothers. A very good movie, and I thought one of the best movies of the 2010s. And at times it sets up Tommy Wiseau as this weirdo and sometimes a manipulative a-hole, but also lets us see the good side of Tommy Wiseau. Lets us see basically Greg Sestero as basically a caring friend who wants to make a movie, but sometimes is oblivious by the manipulation and narcissism of Tommy Wiseau. But the opening scene basically indicated the movie is not known because it's great. It's not Casablanca. It's not Godfather. It's the best, worst movie of all time, but it's a movie that you can watch from beginning to end. Like you say, it's so bad. Okay, we can turn it off. No, not turn it off. I want to see the rest of it. And you laugh it off. You watch this and you're always entertained. And this opening sets this up for that. So that's number 27. Number 26, from 2006, 2007, I don't remember when it came out, but I went to see it in 2007, Children of Men with Clive Owen, Michael Caine Jr. and more. It's the whole city, basically, there's no natural birds anymore in that movie. And the beginning of the movie is Clive Owen going to a coffee place in the morning, and soon after he leaves, an explosion. Nobody knows why. Already there, it keeps you on suspense for the whole movie. And it's a movie that I don't think is getting as much love as it should. That's what I believe in terms of Children of Men. That needs better love. But now let's go to 25, a movie that you know better, Scream, the original Scream, 1996, when basically you see Drew Barrymore. Back in the day, there wasn't the DVDs with VHS. When you go rented it, yeah, I'm that old. When you go to basically a video rental place and basically want to rent it, you see Drew Barrymore on her cover. She did a lot of movies in which she was a star. You assume she's going to be the star of the horror movies. Surprise, twist, not a twist ending, twist opening. She's the first victim of the movie. Yes, the most bankable person is the first victim, if you don't count the boyfriend there. And that sets up the rest of the movie. It's a you don't know what's gonna be next. You don't know who's gonna be the culprit, and at the end you find out it's one of those movies where you think it's somebody is gonna be the boyfriend was, but you're just half right. If you don't expect to be half right, it was the boyfriend, and his best friend. And yeah, it's a fantastic start to the whole franchise, and it's like still a franchise that goes on well today. The worst case, the worst Scream even then is a good movie. The worst Scream is being Scream 3. There's no awful entry in that series. They just one that might be disappointing, but there's not something I'd say worst sequel list, which by the way, FYI is one of the list I'm gonna do later. It's not gonna be on there because bad and disappointing are not the same thing. But anyway, in terms of Scream, I love the fact that it sets up an environment in aura of you don't know what's going to happen next. You don't know who's going to be the next victim. Nobody is safe. Everybody is a suspect, as Randy Meeks would say. And that sets up it beautiful in the first scene. So number 26. Sorry, that's number 25. Sorry. Number 24, The Departed. Or what I call, in my opinion, the last great movie of Jack Nicholson's. I mean, Jack Nicholson playing basically another mobster after he played one in Batman 89 is kind of hilarious. I think my brother once said, hey, imagine if Joker survived and there's Frank Costello. Or better yet, maybe The Departed could actually be a prequel of Batman 89. You could actually do that. Somebody's Somebody in the comments below, please do a fan fiction about Frank Costello going to Gotham becoming Jack Napier. Go ahead. I dare you. Anyway, I really, really like the first scene because I don't want the environment. I don't want to be a product of my environment. I want the environment to be a product of me. He's so sinister, and Martin Scorsese is damn good at create great sinister gangsters in the movie. And with the "Gimme Shelters" song from Rolling Stones that often plays in many, many Martin Scorsese movies. I really like that scene. I really like how it sets up Frank Costello, and you couldn't look away when he was on screen. It was very creepy, but I felt like it's not a mobster like the Joker. He played differently. He didn't feel chaotic. He just felt like organized, basically, like you didn't want to screw around with him. But at the same time, the movie made you see that he tended to very much be protective of those who were loyal to him. He was loyal to Pat Damon, unbeknownst to him that he was the mole and basically was going to turn him away anyway. He was loyal to Leonardo DiCaprio, even though he was a mole, and probably the Costello knew he was a mole. He still protected him. He protected Ray Winstone's character as well. He was very, very, as Ray Winstone was Mr. French. He protected them all. But the moment he felt threatened, he was very dangerous. Like that's a movie that is 2 hours and a half, and I talk about movies length, and this one, the movie duration, did not feel anything long. I mean, everybody played their parts well. I think it's Mark Wahlberg's best performance ever, and every performance since then seems like it be a version of this one, apart from Ted, in which case it is. But still, I love that movie, and the first scene sets up the bad guy perfectly. That's very important. First scene. Number 23, The Social Network, 2010. I mean, the first conversation between Mark Zuckerberg, played by Jesse Eisenberg, in what I think is might be his best performance apart from Zombieland, and Rooney Mara, whose best performance, in my opinion, was Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. And the fact is, we never got a sequel of that, and that sucks. Well, a sequel that is by David Fincher and by Rooney Mara. But the first conversation, just conversations with two people, and like with Fincher, there's a lot of suspense there, but you can actually see the point of view that Zuckerberg isn't even in the moment. He's not even thinking about having conversations with girlfriend. He's basically insulting her, being passive aggressive, and thinking about other ways, basically like what he doesn't have. He's fixated on what he doesn't have rather than what he does have. He wants to basically be popular rather than considering the girlfriend he has now, leading to her breaking up with him. And then in the movie version shows him up to be very challenged and mature. They create Facebook in a rash, impulsive way to get back at her, leading to the bookend ending that basically he tries to hat her on Facebook at the end. Because he couldn't believe that basically she's basically his version of the one who got away, except in this case, she's the one who was scared away from him. who he scared off away. We pushed away. She's not even the woman that he scared away. He just pushed her away at the beginning of the movie because he wanted to be popular. He wanted to be the probation of everybody, which he wouldn't get. But I thought this movie pretty much summed up the essence of the Mark Zuckerberg movie character. Not the real Mark Zuckerberg. I don't know him, but in terms of movie, yeah, he did. That's number 23. Number 22, Casino. A movie that starts with the main character getting blown up, really gets you, really gets the interest going, especially when the cast include Robert De Niro, Joe Pesci, and Sharon Stone's best performance. It's not Basic Instinct. Basic Instinct is a gimmick movie. This is our best performance in Casino, and you have James Woods as well. But Joe Pesci basically, I love Joe Pesci, but he kind of plays the same as Goodfellas. I'll just say that. Robert Downey, Robert De Niro plays differently. Plays kind of basically Sam Rutstein, basically a booker in Casino, and he plays it differently than would play other roles. So I thought there's more of a transformation there and more of a basically more of a range than Joe Pesci. Joe Pesci has a great range of emotions, a basically great way of acting tools, but didn't display them there. He just felt like Tommy DeVito Part 2. Whereas in The Irishman, I could see like Joe Pesci played a different role of gangster. But in this case, it felt like a repeat of it. But the beginning of the movie, when basically Rutstein's Robert De Niro's character gets blown up, you think, wow, they started a movie with him getting killed right away? Wow, that's a bold move. And you watch the rest of the movie, you could see basically the turbulent world in which case they live in. So yeah, that's for number 22. Number 21st, this time it's going to be actually, let's lay low of the action movies. Let's start with a comedy, Forgetting Sarah Marshall from 2008. It's a romantic comedy that's not talked about today, and I think should be remembered more because for as much as the main character, Peter, is seen to realize how much his girlfriend wasn't as wasn't loyal, wasn't exactly the person who was worth stand up for, it's still a movie that looks, from her point of view, what he did wrong. He didn't take care of himself. He never wanted to go out, never wanted to do anything. So you could see her point of view where she was tired of him. But the movie starts with him taking a shower, basically be wearing an only towel. Then she breaks up with him and he loses towel. And it's hilarious. The moment was basically fighting. There's full frontal nudity, and I thought it was hilarious the way when it was super hilarious. They went back to him, basically making it so awkward. And she kept asking him to put his towel back on to her former beau. But he said, if I put my clothes back on, the relationship's over. I know where it goes. When the relationship was over before or whether he put his clothes on or not. And it's hilarious because there's part of it that he goes through many emotions. He goes through at first denial, at first anger. Was he asked who's the dude? Until basically he realizes there's no other choice. The relationship's over, whether he wants to admit it or not. He either faces a charade or basically plays a charade or just moves on. And the movie afterwards shows him that basically there's moments where he feels better, he wants to go back in dating scenes, but he's not completely over. It's about grief. This movie's about grief. And it's like you shouldn't go jump to another relationship just because you got your relationship broke up with. You shouldn't. You should need to work on yourself. At the beginning of the movie, it can be traumatizing for a person. Like you didn't expect today to that guy didn't Peter Brenner's character, I think Jason Segel's character didn't get up in the morning expecting to be broken up with, but it happened. And the next scenes afterwards, the guy is angry, the guy's in denial, but at the same time, oh, I'm gonna keep the pictures in case we come back up. And it's like it's his brother-in-law who says, no, I don't think it's a good idea to ever come back together. And was telling his true feelings on Sarah Marshall. But again, the whole movie wasn't a guilt trip of saying Sarah Marshall's a bad person. They were saying that, Peter, you stopped working on yourself for a long time. You neglected your health. You neglected this, which I think is a good idea in a movie. Not just saying it's one-sided. Most relationship that has a breakup, it's never one-sided. It's never your side. It's never her side or the other person's side. It's a side in the middle. This person might have done some bad things. You may stop working on some things. It's a myriad of factors that end up a combination of factors that end up relationship ending. Even in long-term relationship. This case also, that's the reason why it shows why he was devastated. When it's a long-term relationship, it sucks. It feels like you've been kicking the gut and you still feel it days later. Sleeping enough is not going to help it better. Working out will help, but you still feel it. You feel that void, empty void, but it takes time to heal. And why that scene works so much, it resonates here, is simply this. Uh, Sometimes it's uncomfortable truths, like basically somebody doesn't work on himself. Or stop some hobbies in the past and just try to focus on being the guy in a relationship, the version of yourself in a relationship, rather than just being a complete, basically a complete version of yourself, in which case the version of you in a relationship is just a part of you. And the sad, uncomfortable truth is Peter Brenner stopped being anything else but the guy who's with Sarah Marshall, rather than just being himself. So I think that's a very, very good lesson, and an hilarious lesson at that. But it's number 21st, and I didn't want to dwell more on this one because number 20 is Anchorman, 2004, another comedy. And it sets up a Ron Burgundy so full of himself. Like he wants everybody to look himself in the mirror. And now he's a pompous, well, I'll just say it, he's a pompous ass, a chauvinist ass that basically thinks like his ways, like basically he thinks that his way is never going to stop being funny. Basically, his way is not going to stop. He's always going to be able to perjure, despite the fact that, let's be honest, he's not good at his job. If there's no prompter, he can't do his job. Brian Fontana, I mean, it's hilarious. Like, the guy tries to actually interview pandas. Chem Kine, I don't know what he does, and then Brick Tamlet, played by Steve Carell, who stole the show. Like, the moment that's Veronica Cornerstone, the first female journalist on their team, who quite frankly is so much better than all of them combined at their job. She actually qualified, she has a bachelor's degree, she has experience, and they're threatened. And the movie never tried. Yeah, there's a lot of jokes, but they're all at Ron Burgundy's expense, at his team's expense, not Veronica, because Veronica is killer at her job. She knows what she's doing. But the whole movie shows you how inept the guy is, while still being a big deal in San Diego. The way he speaks, all of it, it's like in the first scene you can't see what he is. I mean, even the narrator's introduction of Ron Burgundy is so grandiose, hilarious. I like Anchorman too, but the first one is still a classic. The second one is is a good continuation. Not great, a good. Not a bad movie though. I think people like really need to calm their brakes on to call it the second one a bad movie. It's just a good one. But anyway, a great opening for this. Number 19, The Naked Gun. Yeah, I could say all Naked Gun. And it's Naked Gun, the original one, 1988, from the files of Police Squad. I mean, at first you wonder, hey, kid, I'm watching a movie about Naked Gun, about the comic, about a police officer, but we're not here. We're not in, the movie doesn't even start in America. You wonder what's happening until somebody basically shakes a tea kettle and basically spills hot tea on one of the bad guys, and from there on, the laughs never stop. I mean, if you see Naked Gun and don't laugh, I really feel sorry for you. I'll just say it. Any of those, which one, two, three, or the one with Liam Neeson, all of them, which I call Naked Gun 4, if you can't laugh at this, there's something wrong. That's comedy, that's satire done right. And I think Naked Gun on 4 right now this year should be studied, as in you still can do comedy. You just have to be creative about it. Okay? But yeah, we need the laughter, and I thought it was very well done. It's played seriously by the actor. They're playing seriously the move, but they're playing characters in a serious manner by doing stupid stuff. They're saying stupid stuff by saying it seriously, as if it was serious. And it's this whole tone of the movie that I love after this. That was 19. Number 18, the original TMNT, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 1990, which I think is maybe the second movie I've seen in the movie theater. I think in this case, and it's like that's my favorite TMNT movie today. The last second is the Mutant Mayhem movie, but this one to me feels timeless. At the time was the highest grossing independent movie there ever was. People didn't expect that, but you want to know why I think it was great? Because there was a lot of care. The late great Jim Henson created the Muppets, made sure to designed the suit of the turtles. And I still think they're the best turtle suits ever. Forget the Michael Bay ones. I love these ones. There was individuality in there. It was very care. It's like, yeah, it's goofy. There's Ninja Turtles. I mean, let's be honest. As a grown-up looking at the title, it's kind of ridiculous, but it fits and it's good. But also what helped is most of the scenes with turtles happen at night. And while they might not be intimidating, it's like they mix well with the darkness. It makes sense. Like if it doesn't actually accentuate the weaknesses, it accentuates the good side of it, the good side of the suits. I mean, at first, the first thing you see is the turtles. I think we're basically rescuing April when the first scene. No, they're rescuing people. Sorry, from the subway, and title screen comes up, and it's like that's a perfect introduction to turtles. It's more like comics. Like there's some aspect of basically the TV show, but also a bit of the darkness of the original. It was a great hybrid of both. But hey, yet parents in the 1990s they had to complain that movie made their kids violent, right? And basically trying to parent. I don't know. Because it led to TMNT 2, in which case no turtles could use their weapons. Before the credit, basically before the first opening scene, and nobody was allowed to basically use their weapons. Michelangelo had to use saws instead of basically nunchakus, for example. And it also led to the third one, which basically before basically the title screen come up, they didn't even fight for soldiers. They were just they were just dancing for no reason. But anyway, that was with I love the opening of TMNT. There's a reason I got on DVD because it's a damn good movie, and I think the suits are still timeless. It's not like a movie where the special effects are bad. No, they're very good. For an independent movie, it still lasts that long, and it's like Casey Jones is a great character. April only was a great character. Splinter, and basically the moment where basically they're meditating and they see Splinter and they said basically, I love you all, my son. It's a moment that really, really, really resonates. A very beautiful scene. So for a movie about mutant turtles, that's very good. Number 17, sorry. I got Rocky 3, 1982. We saw Rocky, the first Rocky, I like it, but it's like he didn't set up the character. You warm up for this later. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. I really like Rocky 2 also because you see the life after he won it. And I learned later that basically the Rocky series is all autobiographical in some way. The first one is about nobody became a big shot, which happened to Stallone. The second one is he went back to Rocky after some movies he did after Rocky 1 weren't hits. And they thought it was a one-trick pony. So he went to Rocky 2, and he won at the end. And after Rocky 2 actually became a big deal, did other movies, then Rocky 3. Rocky 3 is basically it's when he hits the big time, and he's a big star, and the fall from grace. That's Rocky. Basically, the beginning of the movie is they set up basically do the always for every Rocky. I like the fact they show you the last scene of the last movie, and it shows how Rocky, basically in this case, became world champion. And then you had the montage to Eye of the Tiger, one of the best songs in a movie ever. And it sets up the whole movie. It sets up how Rocky became, yeah, he became champion. But at the same time, it sets up the rest of the story. It sets up basically, it should have been the Eye of the Tiger, should have been the subtitle of the movie. It's he won, but he wasn't the best competition. He wasn't the best he could be. He wasn't the motivated Rocky that needed the win over Apollo Creed. No, he was a guy who won, but also tried to make it a spectacle. Salutes everybody. He was going to Muppets. Basically, was doing all the celebrity appearances, but wasn't upping his game. Whereas Clubber Lang came out from nowhere. He basically dwelled in obscurity. Was going. He was basically wasn't living in riches, and he was motivated. He was destroying his opponent, and honestly, he was being a bully about it. He's basically if Rocky Balboa was a bad person. That's basically how I saw it. If Rocky Balboa was a bad person, what would he do? You saw Clubber Lang, and it sets up the rest movie. Honestly, you could have ended Rocky trilogy there, and I thought would have been perfect. Sure, we never got gotten Rocky Balboa and Rocky 4, but we'd at least be spare Rocky 5. But if it ended there, it was beautiful because the whole movie, it's like the Eye of the Tiger, at the beginning of the movie, it's Clubber Lang was, and was Rocky was just about living the good life. It felt like he retired the warrior in himself. He retired the warrior of Rocky Balboa. He didn't need to fight as hard. That's how I felt at the beginning. So I love the opening of Rocky 3. That's for number 17. Number 16. Let me check. Up. Up 2009. Rarely a Pixar movie can make you a montage of movie without words and nearly make you want to cry. And that's what it does. When Carl and Ellie get married and you see the montage for 8 minutes, they're not talking, but see the whole life. Failing to conceive, Ellie passing away, and you feel for Carl. Because they grew up together, but it's like they wanted to go to Paradise Falls and they never got to. It's like they had a lot of adventures together, but never. They're like two, three things left. They were on the basically on the bucket list they never do as a couple. And since he's a widower, now he wants to do it by himself. And at first, he's tunnel vision about their goals until he meets Russell, he meets Doug, and in a way, he does get to see the Paradise Falls. He still gets to, and I love the fact of at the end of the movie that the house lands of Paradise Falls. It's like so beautiful, but the whole journey they have together and the song, the score, I think it's a beautiful movie. Up, and sure, it won Best Animated Feature, but I think it was one of the best, maybe one of the top two movies of the 2009. There's Watchmen, there's Up, there's Inglourious Bastards. Yeah, that might just be it, my list. Like, it's a very beautiful movie, accentuated with an excellent opening. So that's number. So yeah, we'll just gonna checking which. That's number 16. Number 15, Shrek 2. I don't have any movie, but I love the love base. At first, you just see somebody just like the first one reading a fairy tale until you realize it's Prince Charming narrating himself, trying to rescue the princess, but just a big bad wolf disguised the princess because what? She's on vacation. And it's like, I love the reversal of roles there. Like the ogre being the good guy, the Prince Charming, the Mama's boy bad guy. I love that in Shrek 2. Shrek 1 and Shrek 2 are hilarious. And some of the, honestly, Shrek 2 is in my top five of best animated movies of all time. And it laughs at Disney for so many things. But the fact is, you see basically both of them being in love. Basically, at first you see them like the girl slow mo, they're gonna run each other's arm. Then you realize they're two ogres that are chased by many soldiers. The song I think Counting Crows where So We're in Love plays, and I thought that's a beautiful thing. Or basically, the From Here to Eternity, basically beach making out session, which you think okay, the waterfall comes in and you think Fiona and Shrek are still kissing. No, it's a mermaid that tries kissing Shrek with all this, without him knowing, and Fiona just throws away the mermaid in the water. Basically, a joke at the expense of Little Mermaid. And I thought it was very beautiful, very well done, and it sets up against the rest of the movie. Sets up that their love basically transcending all of this. And then at the end, but basically she wants to stay with the ogre she married. What a powerful, poignant moment for an animated movie. And that's why I went to see it, I think, twice the movie theater. That says something. Okay? But I love Shrek 2 and I love the opening. That's number in here 15. Number 14, it's a tie because it's two comedies. American Pie 999. I had to put on there. Jim Jim being obsessed about watching a scramble scene, you know, and the Borat in 2006, I introduced himself. So I thought it was a very, very well done scene. I thought American Pie there, it's like it sets up who he is and having Jim and his awkward dad. I mean, Jim's dad played wonderfully by Eugene Levy. I thought that sets up basically Jim's character being awkward, bumbly for the rest of the movie and honestly the rest of the series. And also Eugene Levy's dad is basically unconditionally proud and sometimes awkwardly proud of his son, even through his mishap in the second one after he basically drives him back basically to the summer break cabin, the second one, and basically I say I'm proud of you, proud of your son, knowing that it's a situation that nobody but Jim will get himself to, nobody else but Jim will go to the hospital for. I'm not gonna say it here, but if you saw the movie, you saw. I mean, Eugene Levy stole the show in that movie. Like, yeah, there's Stifler, but there's also Eugene Levy. And it's a movie like I've seen various top 10, top 100 comedies. I'm surprised American Pie is on it because it deserves to be. Like there's some movies that weren't on that list that should have been, and some movies that were not that great comedies to begin with. But I love the first scene, American Pie, and I really like in Borat because it's so wrong. And Borat is so wrong. His character is so wrong, but at the same time, that's the point. You know? Comedies. I want some of them more, please, and make them funny. Number 13, Sin City, 2005. Sin City, that's a movie that was awesome. It's nearly 20 years old, and I can still want to re-watch it. It's one of my favorite comic book movies. I mean, not superhero movies, but comic book movies. And it's not talked enough, in my opinion. The way it started with just Arnett's Hitman character and introducing what the city is like before introducing the third fragments of the story, I really love it. So that's number 13. Number 12, I mentioned before, it's Quentin Tarantino, Inglourious Basterds. The whole first act, like basically, it takes you there. It's just a conversation between a farmer and Hans Landa. Again, this is a movie that it's an awesome movie. That Brad Pitt, he had Diane Kruger, he had cameos from Michael Fassbender, he had Mike Myers. But let's be honest, the one who steals the show is the bad guy in Christoph Waltz playing Hans Landa. I mean, he basically talks normally. He talks in French at first. He talks four languages. The movies he talks Italian like a normal Italian person. He talks English well. He talks basically German, and he talks French. And he talks French very, very well. And basically lets the farmer drop his guard. You think he's just a nice person who's forced into doing his job until he reveals that he knows that he's hiding people. And he says that basically, if he reveals where he's hiding them, not only will he be spared, he'll actually be rewarded. And you can see that farmer doesn't want to do that, but he feels like he has no choice. It's either him or the people he's hiding because Alanda is not alone. He has soldiers there, so anything else would be futile. So he pretends he just makes a charade. He says in French, basically, okay, and we're just going, nothing's gonna happen. While the order is his soldiers come in and basically eliminate the people that are protected by the farmer. But Shoshana is the only one who escaped. And he could basically eliminate Shoshana, but because he's a hunter, he sees as good sport to let her get away for now. Not by mercy, but just by fun. And already there you kind of see how creepy, how menace, how malicious, malevolent force this guy is from the get-go. That's what I love in movies. Sometimes it's like, hey, okay, cool. You could say, hey, you could have just killed her from the get-go. No, an hunter like this doesn't want to do this. Sometimes it's like, I'll leave one later. Because in that case, he's a sicko. But that's number 12. Number 11, Inception, 2010. I mean, from the get-go, you don't start completely with the beginning of the story. You start with basically Leonardo DiCaprio seeing an old man Saito, which is the beginning of the end of the movie, and you see where it goes from there. Like the first eyes there, basically the first eyes where basically Leonardo DiCaprio's playing dumb cop who got caught by Saito and forced to extract an idea out of its business rival's mind and to infiltrate, to implant an idea to just relinquish basically his business and to do something else. An old movie, just the first part, where's the first scene is very, very powerful. So, and it really plays on it can be straightforward, but also an ambiguous nature of the movie. So I really like that one. Number 10, again with Quentin Tarantino, Kill Bill Volume 1. The opening of the movie sees the bride visit Vernita Green, aka one of the former Viper Squad members who was this took care of the bride and left her for dead. They betrayed her and left her for dead. And the first one on the hit list of the bride is Vernita Green. Except it's not exactly an ideal opportunity for the bride. It's a very awkward deal because Vernita Green actually retired from being an assassin and actually is waiting for a kid or a daughter to come back from school. and preparing this. So the bride comes in thinking it's just going to be very, very simple, but it's not. It's very awkward because at first, okay, the daughter comes in right away. This like okay, it interrupts the scene, interrupt already the intensity. Like the bride knows she cannot go to a mission with the kids around, so she has to fake being a friend to Vernita Green, and then afterwards they start talking. What happened to this? And the mood become more intense until basically bride eliminates Vernita Green. But little be known to her, Vernita's kids witnesses that, and the bride says, "If ever one day I'll let you grow up, but if ever one day you want to see me and get revenge, you know where to find me." Already there sets up the whole team of revenge, that story, basically the sacrifice that people are going just to get their revenge. And I thought it's an awesome movie and awesomely done by Quentin Tarantino. So yeah, he knows how to set up movies in Inglourious Bastards and Kill Bill. To me, those are my two favorite Quentin Tarantino movie. Yes, Pulp Fiction number three and a close one, but still, those ones are the ones that I prefer because he knows how to set it up for the future. So that's number 10. Now it's gonna be number 9, Terminator 2, Judgment Day, 1991. Why? The beginning of the movie basically sets up what it's gonna be, where Skynet is gonna take control and basically win against humankind. And basically it just stands a Terminator in the future. But you don't know, in this case, which Terminator. You think Arnold was the bad guy in the last one? You think he's going to be the bad guy this one? Wrong. He's actually going to be the good guy. And the cop you've seen, Robert Patrick, playing the T-1000, you think he's going to be the good guy because at first, you don't see him really killing people. And the moment he does, it's later on. You see him basically taking care of this. You think he's dressed as a cop, he's gonna be the good guy, Terminator. No, he's actually the bad guy. It's surreptitious, but I thought it was very well done. That's what I love about T2, and the effects always holds up. Number 8, X-Men 2, 2003. When Nightcrawler goes basically in the White House, only to find out it's not like basically he's manipulated into assaulting everybody in the White House. Very well done sequence, and in my opinion, apart from X-Men Days of Future Past, is still the best group-wise, best X-Men movie there is. Yes, Logan will be part of my favorite movie, but it's not an X-Men movie, it's a Logan movie. In terms of X-Men movie, if it's not Days of Future Past, X-Men 2. It's number 8. Number 7, it's when Tim Burton, sorry, Batman 89. I mean, at first, not just the fact that you see the whole Warner Brothers sign. I love the Warner Brothers logo variation. Looking at this on YouTube is very good. But yeah, it's at first you think, okay, it's not, you think basically it's maybe the background. No, the whole credits is just a Batman suit and the Batman sign. And at first you think, okay, a kid is getting accosted along with his parents by robbers. You think, are they going to kill off the Waynes at the beginning of the movie? No, it's another couple, and they're not getting killed off. They just get, but then Batman appears. Batman sees this, witnesses this, and probably he sees some deja vu what happened, so intervenes. At first, people they throw bullets at him. He falls down, but then gets up, scares the villains. He gives a kick to one, and the other one he holds him up against basically the end of the building, and threatens basically seem threatened, and he says, "I'm not gonna kill you. I just want your friends. I just want you to do me a favor. I want you to tell your friends about me. Who are you?" And it's the iconic "I'm Batman." And it's iconic just a scene, but because people didn't think that Michael Keaton added in him. They thought basically he's too small, he's too funny, he's too wacky, cannot be Batman, and then that happened. And now, 36 years later, people see him as the definitive Batman. They want another Batman movie from him. That says something. And I still believe they should deal with Batman 3 while you still can. But you also have Batman Returns. Yes, Batman Returns has some problematic effect, but yet some people prefer it over Batman 89. That's fine. I prefer Batman 89 over Batman Returns, but I still like and love Batman Returns. But the beginning, the score is awesome. It feels dark. It feels a darker score, but starting a movie about the Penguins like 33 years ago, and sure, it's Tim Burton, and rather than making a person with deformation, it's basically a person who's pretty much raised like a penguin, who acts like a penguin, but it's like from the get-go, he never had a chance. Pee Wee Herman as his father, and basically Julie Salinger, both of them from Pee Wee's Big Adventure, the first big-time movie from Tim Burton. They're playing the parents, Oswald Cobblepot's parents, and from the get-go, yeah, they're rich, but they have no tolerance for Oswald. They're treating him basically because he looks different. They're treating him basically as if they were unfortunate, they were burdened with him, and they get rid of him. They throw him basically under the bridge into the sewers, which is kind of dark for kids. That's how the movie starts. AKA should have been Batman Returns, AKA the Penguin never had a chance in life. And yeah, it's a very like it really throws you off there, and it's like, yeah, you're right. It might not be for children, but at the same time, I'm not blaming Tim Burton. I'm blaming Warner Brothers or McDonald's. They should have basically reined in when they saw it. And honestly, just like in wrestling, if you give complete creative control to Tim Burton, he's not to blame that you're to blame because you should have said, okay, cool, but here's what you can do, you know? Or ask basically do like a follow-up interviews. Hey, what are you doing? What did you see? Can I see an early cut of the movie? They could have easily done that. They didn't. They were lazy about it. And even then, did they see the first one? The first one was pretty violent too. So let go of that. But the openings are great. That's port number 7. So, what could be number 6? I know. Dark Knight Rises, 2012. The whole plane iced from Bane, from the get-go. It's very creative, and I think like, hey, I like that formula of him creating bad guys from one of the first scenes. And he established how it is. It's organized mayhem from Dark Knight Rises. I was tempted, I'm nearly tempted putting this as a tie with Fight Club. Fight Club is also a great opening. So, but that I will not give you description because I give you description, I give you the twisted movie, and I don't want to do that. But yeah, Dark Knight Rises, basically the Bane Ice was excellent. It played off another great opening from a Nolan movie that I'm going to mention later. But right from the go, it established everything you need to know about Bane. You know he's a menace, a physical menace that Batman never faced before, and you know it needs to be dealt with fast. But the whole thing there is more than meets the eye. So I love that. It's my number 6, along with Fight Club. Number 5, Return of the King, 2003. Return of the King, it sets up, in this case, it sets up Smeagol. It's more about Gollum. Because let's be honest, to me, in the third one, Gollum is the main antagonist more than Sauron. Sauron is basically not in the background. He's the main villain, but it's more a casualty, and that's done great in the movie because Sauron's more of a thing than a physical obstacle this time. This time it's Gollum. And this transformation from Smeagol to Gollum, you felt sorry at first, like he was a happy hobbit. He was a hobbit, he was part of the Shire, with his friend, or basically I think his brother Deagle, until they find a ring. And both at first want to play around with it, but Smeagol gets obsessed and kills his friend. And he leaves. And the thing is, it felt like at first he had guilt. He felt like remorse about what he did. Then he leaves for the caves because he knows there's no going back. And they know that people will find out they killed his brother, and you can't erase anything out of that. So he goes live in caves and spend years and years. It prolongs his life, but it's at the cost of his body. His body's ravaged. It's not the way he used to be. He loses this. He's no longer that human. He's obsessed about the ring. So it makes a tragedy in Two Towers that finally accepted life without the ring and wants to see his friends. But the moment he felt betrayed, he thinks basically the hobbits did it when he wasn't betrayed. They tried to help him. He got caught. And the tragedy is he never know that basically they didn't set him up. The hobbits didn't set him up. Frodo and Sam did not set him up. He just got caught by happenstance. But that led up to him basically retrieving his evil side, and basically tried to deliver the hobbits to Shelob to get the ring. And that leads up to events and eventually the destruction of the ring and the death of Gollum. But it was all set up in the beginning of the movie. Rather than basically said in the middle part of the movie, no, they started Return of the King with this, and I think that's great. The only thing I don't like about Return of the King, the theatrical edition, is the absence of Saruman and Wormtongue. That's the scene that's why I prefer the extended edition of Return of the King. That's number 5. Number 4, Raiders of the Lost Ark, 1980 or 1981, I'm not sure. That established who Indiana Jones is right from the get-go. And the boulder, the giant boulder that he runs from this, it establishes Indiana Jones as a fearless adventurer who doesn't try to retrieve artifacts just because he wants to get rich. No, he wants to do it to put in a museum to preserve history. He values history education very much, and that established them in the first one. So number four, number three, 1998, Saving Private Ryan, Normandy Beach, Steven Spielberg. Like not that was a breakthrough movie because at first war movies were not that violent. They didn't show realistic depiction of war, but this movie did. And the Normandy Beach scene is still seen as basically not just a breakthrough, but basically say maybe a realistic depiction of war. And at first, you think somebody's looking over, basically, you think basically it's Tom Hanks' older characters looking over the tombs, the tombstones of his fallen comrades, and you find out no, it's not. It was Matt Damon's character. The private writing of the title was looking at the people who made the sacrifice to save his life. But anyway, the Normandy Beaches was very well done there, and it's a very, very powerful scene. That's number three. Number two, I was dating between number one and two, and basically I might just entwine them basically, or basically switch them one day from another. Number two is The Dark Knight, 2008. We know the Joker heist. After the plane heist, you had the bank heist. And you see the Joker playing with the emotion of the criminals. They think the criminals will get away with a lot of money, but he ends up eliminating them one by one. And he goes away with the money, and later on in the movie, he's going to burn the money, just to basically, because he's an agent of chaos. And the introduction of the Joker makes complete sense. There's a guy who's not going to be like, he's not a bureaucrat. He's not going to be happy doing a desk job. He doesn't want to just be there. He wants to be on the field because he doesn't like to do plans. Or in his words, it's like, basically, he's not a guy with a plan. Or I'd say basically this, he's just a guy who shows the schemers how pathetic their plans really are. So basically, he just tries to undo the plan. So he's actually a guy who's going to plan this, but he's going to plan to make sure to destroy the plans of what he considers guys who are schemers. And I thought I established the character of the Joker right away. So that's number two. And I'm going to go to number one before I lose my voice. Goodfellas, 1990. Like basically, ever since I was young, I always wanted to be a gangster. While basically they're burying the body of Billy Bats, we don't know right now, but we do later on. It established Anchor Hill's basically downfall or basically descent into the mobster world and gangsters world, and the reason why. And from the get-go, I already had a predilection of going to that world. And he explained why the story, and basically why he was charmed by that life, was seduced by that life, basically the late great Ray Liotta played him. And we saw Tommy DeVito playing by a scene-stealing Joe Pesci. He steals the show the whole way. But he was a psychopath. So basically, I love that movie. I like Goodfellas. And to be honest with you, I love Godfather 1. I love Goodfellas. But if you ask me, I might just choose Goodfellas instead of Godfather 1. Criticize me for all you want, but that's how I believe about this. And I think Goodfellas deserves the number one spot. But The Dark Knight could get it. So to recap, you have at number 30, you have the other guys. At number 29, you have Ghost Ship. At 28, Ghostbusters. 27, The Disaster's Artist. 26, Children of Men. 25, Scream. 24, Departed. 23, Social Network. 22, Casino. 21, Forgetting Sarah Marshall. 20, Anchorman 2004. 19, The Naked Gun, the original from the first files of Police Squad. 18, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles from 1990. 17, Rocky 3, 1982. 16, Up, 2009. 15, Shrek 2, 2004. 14, A Tie Between American Pie, 1999, and Borat, 2006. 13, Sin City, 2005. 12, Inglourious Basterds, 2009. 11, Inception, 2010. 10, Kill Bill Volume 1. 9, Terminator 2 from 1991. 8, X-Men 2 from 2003. 7, A Tie Between the Two, Tim Burton's Batman, Batman 89, and Batman Returns 1992. 6, Dark Knight Rises from 2012. Return of the King, from Lord of the Rings, Return of the King, 2003, number 5. Number 4, Raiders of the Lost Ark, 1980. 3, Saving Private Ryan, 1998. Number 2, Dark Knight, 2008. And number 1, Goodfellas, 1990. That's on my list. And as I mentioned, short run, that just makes me realize, yeah, I think a lot of movies from what I've gathered recently, they don't hook you like that as they used to. There's still some great openings, but I don't see as much as movies like, oh crap, I'm hooked on from the get-go. And we need to work on that. So that's my list. I'm coming back with the worst sequels, in my opinion, of all time. And that's my next list. So catch you guys later. A great one.